What's up guys, Universal Mastery. So this topic just came to my mind, so I thought I'd make a video on it because I definitely know it's going to offer value for some of you, because I know if it was me, it would offer value. So what we're going to be talking about, actually, first of all, what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences, and I break them down to a very practical level so that you can use them and apply them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results. So the whole goal of my channel is so that you learn more about the occult and you learn more about the laws of nature and the hidden forces that, you know, are here on Earth. And then pretty much what I'm teaching you is how to utilize these forces and become aware of these forces, once again, so that you can live a more effective lifestyle. Okay, so that's what I do on my channel, and what we're going to be talking about in today's video is definitely something that's very important to understand, and something that I think is going to actually offer a lot of value to a lot of you, and a lot of clarity to some of you that are already practitioners, and to some of you that aren't practitioners and want to start getting into this, because this is definitely something that you want to know when you start to walk this path, or if you are already walking this path. Okay, so without further ado, what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is how do you recognize familiars? Okay, so how do you recognize familiar spirits? Okay, familiars. So this is going to be certain types of spirits that are guiding you and that you will become aware of in your day-to-day life. And I'm also going to cover how you can get familiar spirits, okay? So if you want to know a little bit more about familiars and how to recognize familiars in your day-to-day life, and even how to get familiars, then stay tuned for the rest of this video. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have exclusive content, okay? So some of that content is going to be geared towards actual spiritual practices that I perform on camera, and I also teach you how to perform yourself so that you get 100%, you know, 100% success rating with your results if you perform it yourself, as long as you are consistent and you have the intention of wanting to actually make it work. I can't help you if you don't have the right mindset. I can't help you if you give up. Okay, that's the only person I can't help, someone who gives up. So as long as you're consistent, as long as you do the practices and you continue to do what I'm teaching you, you will get success. So half of the videos are going to be geared towards that, and then the other half of the videos are going to be geared towards educational entertainment, which is very similar to a video like this, where it's entertaining, but it's also educational. You're also getting a lot of value from it. So where you're going to be able to find the Patreon is when you click the drop down in the description. You're going to see that very first link at the top. It's going to say My Patreon right next to that first link. You're going to click that link. It's going to take you right over to the Patreon. Now, in order to gain access to this exclusive content that is not on my YouTube channel, none of this content is on my YouTube channel. This is only for my Patreon members, and content is a little bit deeper. It's a little bit more advanced. There's also some beginner, intermediate, and advanced stuff, but I would say there's more so deeper topics on my Patreon for those of you that are taking it a little bit more seriously. And that's why you have to become a Patreon to gain access to that content. And that's why I'm not putting that out on my YouTube channel. Okay? So in order to gain access to these exclusive videos, you have to at least be a Tier 2 member. So in order to be a Tier 2, it literally costs $9.95 a month, and that's a reoccurring payment. But if you do the math, that's literally less than $1 a day. So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that. Absolutely. I mean, with the value that I have on there, less than $1 a day, no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that. So yeah, other than that, as you go up in tiers, remember the tiers go from 1 to 4. You have to be at least a Tier 2 to gain access to this exclusive content and some other stuff as well. You'll be able to check that out for yourself. But as you go up in tiers, the benefits go up as well. So once again, I'll let you check that out for yourself. And I'd like to give a special shout out to the top tier members of the Patreon already. Their names are going to be mentioned in the parentheses right below that link. Okay, without further ado, let's go right into this. Okay, so once again, what we're talking about is how to recognize familiars, and I'm also going to go into how to get familiars. Okay, and these are familiars, meaning spirits that help you in your day-to-day life. spirits that you can become aware of that are already helping you in your day-to-day life. Okay, and they're there. The more you become aware of them, that means the more they're able to help you. The more you recognize that they are guiding you, the more powerful they become. Okay, and in general, most people have no idea about familiars. Most people don't think anything's out there really helping them. So most people aren't utilizing this power. And once again, I'm also going to tell you how to get familiars. What is one of the most effective ways to obtain familiar spirits, so that you can become, you could almost say, hyper aware of these familiars working in your life, helping you. Okay, so and once again, this video was very intuitive. Like, I was literally on my way home from a boxing practice and it just, boom, sparked in my mind, so I thought I'd share it. And usually when I do that, when these videos come to me that spontaneously and I share them, it tends to be a very good thing. It tends to offer a lot of value. So I'm going to make this quick. I'm not going to make it too long. Let's go right into it. So a great way to recognize familiars. Okay, so let's first start with, what is a familiar? A familiar, once again, is going to be a spirit that helps you. Okay, you don't necessarily need to know the name of the spirit. You don't need to really know what kind of spirit it is, although it would be cool, it would be beneficial if you did know these things, but you don't really need to. All you need to know is the symbol of that familiar. Okay, so a lot of the times familiars are going to show up in certain forms, and those specific forms usually take the shape of an animal. So you will tend to find familiars in the form of all types of animals: wolves, cats, lions, dogs, alligators, crocodiles, sharks, dolphins, fish, birds, horses, rhinoceros, zebras, unicorn, and then it can take the shape of insects, spiders, wasps, dung beetles, dragonflies, flies, moths, butterfly, ants. So you get the point. So typically, familiars are going to show up to you in these types of forms. Okay, so one way that you can become aware of familiars is when you are doing something, anything. You could be doing something in your day-to-day life. You could be at work. You could be hanging out with friends. You could be just walking to the grocery store. You could be outside on a walk. You could be sitting in your room. Whatever you're doing. If you tend to come into contact, let's say, for example, you come into contact with somebody in your day-to-day life, and you go and you greet them, and one of the first things you just notice, it's just already in your awareness, you just recognize that on their sweatshirt or on their shirt or on their pants or wherever on their body, there's a certain logo of, let's say, a bird, like a raven, right? Let's say that you just recognize it. And it's literally, like, when I say you just recognize it, I literally mean, like, it's the first thing that your eyes and your awareness goes to. You just go up to greet the person, you look at them in the eyes or whatever you do, and then you just notice this animal, whatever it is. I'm using the raven as a example. It could be anything. But you just recognize this animal or this creature or whatever it is that just keeps popping up, or it just really grabs your attention. Okay? That is a familiar. Okay, if you are aware of that, right? If you're recognizing that animal, but you don't know what it is, right? You're just like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I like that. For some reason, there's something intuitive in me that just is gravitated towards that. That's a familiar. That is a familiar spirit speaking to you through that symbol, saying, I'm here. I'm here as the raven. Okay, and if you want to learn a little bit more about the attributes or the nature of the familiar, then go ahead and go on Google and search up the symbolism of the raven. What does the raven symbolize? And then you may find some information talking about animal totems or insect totems. It's the same type of concept. It's the same concept as the familiar. So this is where you can start to study the attributes of these familiars and get a little bit closer to them and learn more about these spirits. Okay, so this is a great way to recognize familiars in your life. So that's one example. You may come into contact with somebody that has an animal on their shirt. You're just hyper aware and you don't know why. That's a familiar. So now you know. Okay, now you understand why. Do some research of the attributations of that animal now. Type this in on Google. What is the spiritual meaning of fill in the blank? And then you can learn more about that. And then guess what? guess what will start to happen? That familiar will start to show up more and more often, more consistently in your life, because by you doing that extra research and by you realizing, oh, that's why I'm gravitated towards that, you know, from watching this video, recognizing what I'm saying and understanding what I'm saying, that the symbolism has a meaning to it, you know, the animal symbolism really does have a meaning. By recognizing that, you're strengthening the connection between you and that familiar. It's like a spirit. You know, some people walk around ignorant of spirits and they don't think they're real. Therefore, the spirits don't really interact in their life because they don't really. Spirits aren't going to really, unless you have a lot of potential, unless you're really inclined and adept to becoming a master of some form of spirituality. Most of the time, spirits are not going to go out of their way to try and convince you or try and get you to believe that they're real. Once again, every once in a while, it happens differently. Some people are naturally inclined and very spiritually adept and have a lot of potential within their own spiritual development, and spirits will go out of their way to say, hey, look, you know, this is your path, you know, this is what's going on. And those people tend to gravitate towards spirituality very quick because of that. But then there's some people that just kind of go about life ignorant and refuse to believe that side of life, the occult, the hidden, and they will never know that. And that, you know, the spirits have a lot less power in their life because they're not open to it and they're not aware of it. So it essentially makes your life a lot harder. Like, it's just going to make your life a lot harder. You're going to be stuck in a mental prison to some degree. You know, if you're not aware of spirituality at all and you refuse that it's real, you are in a mental prison. I don't give a fuck what you think or what you say. You're in some form of mental prison, and I would love for you to try and prove me otherwise. Okay, because I know you're in a fucking mental prison. I know how this process of evolution works. So that is what it is. When you become aware of the familiars, they can work more effectively in your life, and they will start to show up more in your life. So once again, that can go for anything. You know, it could be a logo on a shirt. Remember, that was the example I used. It could be a real animal. Like, you could be walking. I live in Florida. There's a trail that I go on, and there's a literal zebra. This person literally has a zebra in their backyard, and it's like gated off and everything. They have a zebra, and they have some like ox, like real ox with some massive ass horns. These are familiars, and I've noticed that. Like, when I come across that, I'm not just seeing it like, oh, it's just a zebra. Oh, it's just a horse. Oh, it's just this. It's just this. Oh, it's just, every time I recognize something, I'm attributing it to a spirit. I'm attributing it to a deeper meaning. So I will look up the symbolism of why I'm coming across that animal, and all the time, not even some of the time, all of the time, when I search up that symbolism, it's right on the point. It's right on the dot. It's telling me something about my own state of mind. It's telling me something that I needed to be aware of within myself. And it's just giving me more clarity. And that is a familiar. There is a spiritual being that is inhabiting that zebra, that dog, that cat, that lion, that wolf, that bird. And it doesn't necessarily mean it is the wolf, the dog, the lion, the cat, the bird, but it is the spiritual archetype. There is a real spirit that is communicating to you through that archetypal energy of what these animals or these creatures or whatever the symbol is. Okay, so that's what you need to understand about the spirits and what a spirit really is. It's an energetic code. Spirits are these energies. They're programs. So these codes, and they're very dynamic and they're very intelligent. Certain types. Some aren't so intelligent. Some are. Familiars are intelligent, okay, and they show you things, and they want you to develop yourself. They're also connected to you. They're a part of you. They're your guides. Like, you are a powerful spirit. They are here to serve you, and they want to serve you. Okay, you want to recognize that as well. So that's the case. You know, so they are energies, and they can communicate through the form of animals or creatures or whatever symbol it is. So, for example, you can create a familiar from the Nike symbol, for example, like, to just use an example. It doesn't have to be an animal or a creature necessarily. You could use the Nike symbol. So we all look at Nike, right? You know the symbol, the check mark? Well, it says just do it. So let's say, for example, you're out and you're thinking like, you're debating if you want to follow your routine, right? You're debating. You're like, I don't know if I really want to do it today. And you're just having one of those days where it's like, everything seems to be working against you, and it's just really tough to get into your routine or to do what you said you were going to do. And then sure enough, someone walks by with a Nike shirt that says, just do it. That is another familiar that can come through a Nike logo from another company. Like, that's a whole different entity within itself, but it can still communicate with you if you've, developed yourself to the point where you're allowing these symbols to communicate with you, because a lot of people aren't going to understand that. A lot of people aren't going to be thinking what I'm telling you right now, but you can use that to your advantage as well. Once again, if you're feeling like not doing what it is that you need to do, and then someone walks by with a Nike shirt and it says just do it, and then you say, oh, you know what? That's a familiar communicating with me right now. Just fucking do it. I'm gonna fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I don't care how bad I feel. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. I know where this is gonna lead me. That's called mastering your mind. That's called mastering your emotions, and that's called using spiritual energies to your advantage, especially being a familiar. So now, the golden question, how do you get familiars? A great way to develop familiars, okay, because you're most likely not going to just develop them out of nowhere. It's going to take a little bit of practice, and it's going to take a technique, and that technique has everything to do with invocation. So once again, if you want to learn how to do an invocation, I explain that on my Patreon. And also what I'm going to end up doing later down the road, actually pretty soon later down the road, is I'm going to create an invocation course. Okay, I'm gonna make a course on invocation, breaking it down to the most in-depth science that I possibly can, so that whoever needs to do an invocation fully knows exactly what it is. Okay, so that's coming in the future. Just want to throw that out there. But as of right now, on my Patreon, I have a very in-depth video of me explaining how to do an invocation. I actually do one myself, and I show you how to do it. And I show you how to do it more effectively as well. And it works. It 100% works. This is how you're going to gain familiars, by doing invocations of a specific type of spirit, and that specific types of spirits. And some of those spirits are demons, okay? Ars Goetia demons. These demons are great at giving you familiars. They are great at causing you to be hyper aware of familiars in your reality around you, because you got to remember, demons are on Earth. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean demons are on Earth? I definitely want to be more clear about that. Demons rule Earth, essentially. They govern a lot here. They govern a lot. They govern a lot on the physical plane. They govern a lot with your psyche, your consciousness, your mental states, your emotional states, all of these things. They help you develop your spirit, and they help you become your own divine intelligence, your own spirit. They help develop you to that point. But they are essential. Demons are absolutely essential to work with, and this is the big lie of society, to make you think they're evil. Okay, and that's why religions all preach that there's the devil, and the devil has demons, and these are the things that want to take you to hell. This is the big lie that everyone's been sold. Okay, this is a lie that stems from people that are in the occult and that practice the occult on a much more advanced level than even a lot of advanced occultists know about. And they know about this lie, and that's why they've injected it into our society today, because they're using occult magic and powers to further indoctrinate society to think demons and the devil is evil, when in fact it is. There definitely is some darkness. Absolutely, there's some darkness to it. There's some twisted things to it for sure, and it can get really dark. It can get really uncomfortable, but it's not evil whatsoever. It is not evil whatsoever. And in fact, if you ask me, it's the only way to actually develop yourself. It is the only way. I don't think the right-hand path is a proper way to reach evolution. I truly don't think it's possible. I think you can try it, and I think you will get to a point where you burn out and you actually might end up in a bad place in your life. But I believe through the left-hand path, the left-hand path actually leads you to the middle pillar and leads you on the balanced path. You could say the path of death. Okay, the middle pillar where death, the abyss is, where you can cross. That's what the left-hand path really helps you embrace. Okay, so working with demons really help you develop familiars. Okay, so you may start as when you may start noticing when you start doing invocations of demons and you start working with them, you start communicating with them, you give them offerings. For example, you set up your circle, you do an invocation, you light your offering of incense or whatever offering you're doing, whatever whatever it is that you're doing, right? Like whatever your intention is. Maybe you want to have something manifest in your life. Maybe you want to have the demon do something for you. Maybe you want to have the demon do something in regards to transforming yourself. Like, hey, blank, fill in the blank, whatever demon, can you help me change this about myself? Or can you help me reach my highest potential? Can you help me follow my purpose and my true will and develop my true self? If you start asking, these are very powerful things to ask. I would recommend asking those because black magic is truly about developing yourself at the end of the day, because that's how you're going to bring evolution to Earth and to the species of mankind, and that's what it's all about. Okay, so by doing the invocations of the demon, and then after you do your invocation, just sitting and meditating with the demon. If you sit, I'm at the point where I can do an invocation. I'll sit and I will see I will see the demon appear in front of me. And this is happening in my imagination. And just because it's happening in my imagination does not mean it's not real. It is very real. It's happening in the astral plane. So when I'm using the divine ends and the names to call upon the spirits, and I light my offering, and that's my intention to summon the spirit, to have it appear, it really does, and I get a very clear image of it, and it starts speaking to me, and I can start asking questions, and it speaks back to me, and I can listen, and I can be a sponge. I can absorb the advice that is, essentially being offered to me. I can absorb the power of that demon. I'm at the level where if I call a demon, it's just giving me its power. That's how I do my invocations. I'm not afraid of the demon. I'm not telling the demon to, I'm working with the demon, and the way that I view it is that it wants to give me power. That's a very effective way to work with demons, is realize that you're working with them, have respect for them, and realize that they are here to give you power, to help you evolve. And that's what their goal is. Okay, because you want to think of yourself as an extremely powerful deity, and demons love to serve. So if you're an extremely powerful deity or entity or spirit, then they would love to serve you and love to get you to that level, because every person has a lot of potential. But some of us are not aware of that, and some of us are not going to be aware of that in this lifetime, but maybe later lifetimes to come. But yeah, so doing invocations, of these demons, that can cause a lot of things. That can trigger a lot of things. That can trigger path working. That can trigger shadow work. That can trigger new types of spirits reaching out to you, communicating with you. But one thing that can also trigger, especially if you go into it with the intention or turn it into a ritual and make it something where you gain familiars, or you gain the awareness of familiars in your life, then that would be a very effective thing, and you will start to recognize familiars in your life, according to the things I'm sharing with you. Another way to develop familiars is by working with the dark gods, which are going to be the Qliphothic gods. So the Tree of Death, every sphere on the Tree of Death is attributed a Qliphothic god, essentially. So Samael, Lilith, Lucifer, Asmodee, Belial, Beelzebub, Satan, Moloch, Hecate, the Scarlet Woman, Nama, who else? Lucifuge, Rofacal, any of these beings, and if I missed any, then add them in. They will definitely give you familiars. These you could think of these gods or these Qliphothic beings. These are the higher ranks. These are the energies these are real forces of nature. So you could think of demons as being aspects of your psyche, your mentality, your emotional states, and being able to really teach you things on Earth and about yourself. Demons, by their nature, once again, they add to your soul. So they teach you a lot about yourself, and they give you a lot of insight. Okay, you can think of these Qliphothic gods as being real forces of nature, meaning these beings can cause these beings can do they can change massive things. They can shift your reality entirely and completely. They can cause very quick change. They can do pretty much anything that you intend it to do. But once again, in order for them to be able to work in your life and integrate their power into you, you have to develop yourself to be a vessel for that power. But once again, these Qliphothic gods are going to be great for developing familiars as well. And these Qliphothic gods also have the ability to give you Qliphothic armies. They have the ability to surround you with the spirits of the dead, or spirits of your ancestors, or just spirits of their own legions, spirits that will serve you and will protect you and will guide you and, you know, will do things that, you know, are in your best interest, like armies. Like, I've had meditations where I've seen armies of skeletons and my ancestors and all types of different beings and some creatures and things in that nature. And I didn't even know what it was at the time. Like, I was just not meditating, but I was visualizing while I was invocating. So I was pulling in and channeling all this energy, essentially getting possessed, or filling my spirit. I think that's a better way to put it. Filling my spirit, just pulling in power. And I started to see this army behind me. And within time, I mean, I just kept seeing it. It was always there when I was doing my ritual. And then sure enough, now I know that there's an army, there's literally legions that work with me. And, you know, they help me achieve the life that I want to live, and help, specifically right now, are helping me on my path and helping me while I'm doing my own path working and developing myself, making sure I'm protected, making sure the right circumstances are coming into my life, making sure that I'm taking care of myself, making sure that my mind is focused on the right things, and all things of that nature, you know, all things of that nature. It's a wonderful process. And in return, you know, I'm doing the great work. You know, I'm developing myself. I'm following the instructions to my best ability. Yes, you know, I make mistakes, but, you know, I course correct and I learn from all my mistakes to my best ability. And once again, because I'm developing myself, I'm furthering the infernal empire, which is what these, you know, infernal gods want, and what the Ars Goetia demons want. They want the infernal empire to be spread so that they can gain more power, and that within itself brings more balance to Earth. So it is literally a win-win situation that's going on. So, but yeah, that's it. I'm gonna leave it there. I think that pretty much covers it. I don't want to make this video too long. I said that earlier, and we're already hitting the 30-minute mark. So that's where I want to leave it. So definitely hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Okay, and then come down here, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because I'm posting videos as often as I can. And I guarantee if you hit that notification bell, I will post a video exactly when you need to see it. Okay, because I post videos, as I said, this was a very intuitive video. I know that there's somebody that wanted to know what it is that I'm talking about on this video. And there's probably not too many other people that are making videos on this kind of stuff, especially with the perspective and with the knowledge that I have. So I know in the future there's going to be other times where I just make a video and it's going to probably be exactly what you need to hear, because I'm tuning into my audience. Okay, so yeah, definitely hit that notification bell. Then remember, the Patreon is going to be when you click the description, that drop down, it's going to be that very first link at the top. Remember, you have to be a tier 2 to gain access to the exclusive content, which is literally less than $1 a day if you actually do the math. And yeah, that's there. And then go to the link below that. It's going to take you to the Facebook community. Okay, the Facebook community is going to be, so you'll click the Facebook community. The first pin post you'll see is private group. Click that, request to join. Right now I have roughly 30 people in that, maybe. No, I'd say roughly 30. When we get to 50, I'm going to post on there consistently in the form of written and pictorial quotes. Okay, consistently. So definitely request to join that so that you can be in the loop for that. And then yeah, other than that, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.